Hey there, friends. What's up? Today has been not a challenging day, just kind of a blah day. The past few days were filled with a lot of fun, connected type stuff, and today I'm just feeling kind of worthless, kind of pointless, no energy, no creative drive, I don't know, it's like hard to even talk to people. It's funny, of course, talking into a screen. Of course, we live in this digital age where I think people become more comfortable, in some cases, myself included, talking in this way. It's considerably easier because there's no one to talk back, which is strange because I prefer human connection when I'm feeling good, I should say. Same reason I love music. We had a song circle yesterday and had some people over, and just so beautiful, so many connected moments and singing and just feeling that, the connection that runs deeper than words, the feeling that runs deeper than what language can provide. There's something through music that we just can connect on a much more simple level. It's not about opinions or right and wrong, it just is. But I definitely put in a lot of energy, and so today I'm just kind of feeling blah, and I'm, doing the things I need to do and taking care of errands and blah, 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 but I'm just not feeling that motivation, and it's exactly why I wanted to come on here. I'm going through quite a transformation right now, and that transformation is becoming a father. Haj and I have a baby due very soon, and we're very excited about that. In like a month, our baby, she is due. And so this time before, pre-baby, but knowing you're about to have a baby is very interesting. We're doing a lot of work just to kind of clear out any fears or beliefs that might hold us back from being really present. And also letting go of who we've been, and I speak for myself, who I've been all these years as a non-parent, so to speak. So there's like a death happening. There's this death happening where whoever I am right now is, in a way, won't be very soon. So it's kind of an interesting time. It's sort of an in limbo time where you just know this thing is going to happen. Your whole life is going to change, and that's just that. And it's a conscious choice where we can't wait to be parents. All we want to do is bring in a beautiful child into this world and nourish them and support them. And yet the me now, the fatherless me, won't exist for very long. So in a way, this is goodbye. It's not that I won't be sharing more, but this version of me, maybe it's why I cut my hair off, I don't know. This version of me won't exist anymore. And it's just a fascinating thing. It's a fascinating concept to ponder. Grief, loss, sadness. I think in our society there's a lot of messages to not experience them or to avoid them at all costs, but they're a part of life, and I find them very beautiful in their own way. And I found myself doing a lot of grieving, doing a lot of laying in bed. I go to bed quite early. Last night I was in bed at like 7. I'm usually in bed between like 8:30 and 9, honestly. And that means I wake up very early, often at like 1 or 2, but sometimes I'll get up, and like when I was working on this book, Fermenting with Your Best Friend, that I just published, I would get up and I'd work for hours, and then maybe I'd fall back asleep for a bit just to kind of wake up refreshed. But now I've just been staying in bed. I try to stay in bed till about 6. And a lot of the time I'm just awake, lying in bed, and I'm meditating and just allowing myself to process anything. And a few things that I've noticed. One is that it's easy to, as humans, to maybe have these desires to want abundance, to have, this desire to call in more. I want to be abundant. And when you're thinking about manifestation or trying to call things into your life, it's like, I just want more abundance. And I can feel for that because, even though I feel very abundant in so many ways, financially, sometimes we can be like living on the edge, and I always trust that we always have what we need. Even if that means having to change things or reconsider what we're buying and be more thrifty. We pretty much make everything ourselves at this point, and grow foods and do all the preserving and canning. But what I've been really feeling into recently is the gratitude of the abundance that I already have. Because if we're in this space of always thinking we need more, even if we don't have much, it can almost be more challenging to get more, because how can you appreciate having more if you don't appreciate what you already have? Which I guarantee, if you're alive and you're watching this video, you have more than you realize. And that's the conclusion that I always come back to, is like, yeah, maybe compared to a lot of Americans, and I live in a very wealthy place where people are mega loaded, and maybe compared to them, I have very little, but still in the grand scheme of things, I'm so abundant. So I just like to feel into that abundance. I've also been spending a lot of time just feeling into what it will be like to be a dad. And I lay in bed and I just go through any fears that I might have. I go through this process of just like scanning my body, scanning any thoughts. If there is a fear, I allow myself to go there and to kind of find what's at the end of the fear. Because when we have fears, I find, at least for myself, it's easy to kind of stop it. Okay, this is the fear and I'm worried. I don't want this to happen. What can I do to avoid this and push it away? But what I've seen over the years is that if you go beyond the fear, if you like almost take it to the worst case scenario, okay, what would happen if that did happen? On the outside, and once you've gone through that, there's actually a tremendous amount of peace, because you tend to realize, or I've found, that the fear that I thought was possible actually isn't that big of a deal. Because A, it's not going to happen. It's just some externalized fear. But even if it did, it's like, okay, I've dealt with things in the past. I've dealt with loss and pain and sadness and grief and all these things, and they've only made me stronger. So it's like, no matter what can happen, as humans, we're very transient and we're resilient, not because we're strong, but because we're so adaptable, because we can change and we can shift and we can grow and expand. And from the perspective of there's just an individual me and there's an individual all these other people, life can feel very scary or sad or alone. But from realizing that we're all connected and we're all one, and we just are here to kind of fit into these different ways and shift and mold and play out whatever roles are meant to play out, there's a freeness to that I've come to experience. So when I'm trying to be someone and prove myself and be this character in the world, it can feel very isolating. But when I sync up to the truth that everything is one and it's all connected, and I'm just like a tree floating in the wind, or breeze, or whatever, there's a peace that comes from that. And it might seem kind of out there or esoteric or, I don't know, weird, but it's actually extremely simple. And in life, and just like in healing and spirituality, people can make things very complicated. I think the main reason as humans we try to make things so complicated is to feel some level of, there's something I know that you don't know. But anything I teach, whether it's in cooking or music or just life, it's just a reminder that life is extremely simple. It doesn't mean it's easy, but it's extremely simple. And from this place of simplicity, there's so much magic that actually starts to come, because the complication, we can make things so incredibly complex and confuse people, but the most enjoyable, fulfilling things I find are in the simplest pleasures of life, like just singing a song with someone, or dancing, or taking a barefoot hike in the woods, or eating a good meal. These things are so simple and things that anyone can have some type of access to. But we've been told that, oh, cooking's for the few. Oh, music, you have to be talented to play music. I was having a conversation with my neighbor John yesterday about that. Or to me, one of the saddest things about being human is the belief so many have, most people have, that they're not good at music, or they don't have the talent, or their sister has the voice, or whatever it is. The reason I love to teach music, and I don't really do it for profit in the way that maybe I thought I would back in the day. But the reason I love to share music with people is just that, to be like, hey, music is this God-given thing that we all have. It's this incredible, simple thing that everybody has access to. And when we make it about like winning Grammys and American Idol and stuff, then it's a whole different thing. It's a commodity that there are incredibly talented humans out there that write beautiful music and dedicate their lives to it. Great. But when we make it about, okay, this is my song, and you listen and you clap, and then that's it, and I'm just the spectator, we miss the essence of music. And the essence of music is this transcendent art that connects us all together through simple vibration. It's not about the ego of this is mine and praise me because I'm so talented. It's like, no, music on a very basic level, was designed to bring people together. If you look at all different kinds of tribes and cultures over the years, think about the base of what music was, right? People coming together in drum circles and dancing and sacred ceremonies and rituals to connect to something greater than themselves. And even though we have certain twangs of that in our current society, even though it exists in certain elements, it's become such a commodity that it can be missed, and we can be tricked into believing that it's not something we all have access to. But I've worked with so many people and helped them open up their voice and find their song, and people who are like, oh, I can't sing, I have a terrible voice. I'm like, well, you have a voice, and that's amazing because you're already singing. Just speaking, you're singing. All you have to do is just add a little passion and energy and emotion and whatever it might be coming through you to sing, right? And suddenly it's like, oh, I do have a voice, and let me just connect deeper to this eternal instrument. So yeah, I mean, there's no point to any of my videos because points are just things that take us on a journey, right? So when I start recording, I'm just here to transmute something I'm feeling in the intention that if it inspires you or if it makes you feel something, great. But may this be a reminder that there is death that happens in all of us all the time. And I think as humans, we fear death so much. We're so worried about it. We do so much to avoid it. As I've seen, like, there might be this ultimate final death that people freak out about, but death is happening all the time, just as is life. We're constantly dying and being reborn. Every day we're shedding our beliefs and ideas and shedding our skin and all kinds of stuff and continually evolving. And when we're in that rhythm of this birth and death process, we realize that birth and death are right there. They're next to each other. They're just one. They're in this state of swirling, and they're constantly swirling, and it might be scary to lose something that you love or lose someone that you love. But when you've gone through it enough, you realize that you don't actually lose anything. It's just this continual growth and presencing that happens as we dance through life. So that's all I have to say about that.